if you were president of the United States and I said to you, based on the crimes for which he was committed, would you consider a pardon for Ghislaine Maxwell? What would you say?
I would say, in the interest of the victims and the American public that cares about justice in this case, there's no pardon coming for Ghislaine Maxwell. Of course,
Ghislaine Maxwell, no pardon. Well, we'll see that in a second. Rich, what would you say if I asked you if you'd pardon her if you were president?
Absolutely not. I mean, it would just be so perverse that Epstein got this sweetheart deal, almost inexplicable. I mean, it's part of the reasons there's so much conspiracy theories around this case in the 05-08 timeframe. Then dies in prison, kills himself to escape justice. Then his right-hand associate gets pardoned after being found guilty and sentenced 20. That would be just mind-boggling.
Mind-boggling. So here is a brief history of what the president has said in the past, not in the recent days, about a pardon. But here's what he said about Maxwell in the past. Roll tape.
I don't know. I haven't really been following it too much. I just wish her well, frankly. I've met her numerous times over the years, especially since I lived in Palm Beach, and I guess they lived in Palm Beach. But I wish her well.
Friend or boyfriend, Epstein, was either killed or committed suicide in jail. She's now in jail. Yeah, I wish her well. I'd wish you well. I'd wish a lot of people well. I do wish her well. I'm not looking for anything bad for her. I'm not looking bad for anybody.
A lot of tells there if you're a student of Trump. Now, here's what he said in recent days about the prospects of a pardon.
Are you still disappointed in President Trump?
Well, I don't want to talk about that.
Consider a pardon or a commutation for Ghislaine Maxwell if
it's something I haven't thought about. It's really something recommended. It's something I'm allowed to do it, but it's something I have not thought about. Well, I'm allowed to give her a pardon, but nobody's approached me with it. Nobody's asked me about it. A lot of people are asking me about pardons. Obviously, this is no time to be talking about pardons. But a lot of people have asked about pardon. This is just not a time to be talking about pardons.
So, Emily, his posture towards her differs from what you and Rich said would be your posture if you were president. What's your best theory about why he's given, over time, very positive answers or neutral answers about Maxwell?
Yeah, I mean, people could, write 10,000-word articles on the different theories about why he's had a different posture towards Maxwell. Obviously, they've known each other stretching back a long time. Trump actually mentioned yesterday that his falling out with Jeffrey Epstein, this is according to his telling, was because Epstein was stealing employees from Donald Trump. I don't know what that means in particular, but we do know that Virginia Giuffre, one of the victims, who also doesn't have a 100% track record of truth telling, obviously, but clearly somebody who was in the Epstein circle, was recruited by Ghislaine Maxwell from Mar-a-Lago. So there's a sort of obvious take here that he wants Ghislaine Maxwell. He's been telegraphing to Ghislaine Maxwell to protect him, given what she may know about Donald Trump, or to protect people around him that he's been trying to protect by not releasing new information or significant new information in this case. So, when you have the Deputy Attorney General interviewing her in prison and the president talking like this, she's not really a pardon-worthy. Nobody has the appetite for a deal to be cut with Ghislaine Maxwell. One final thought is people tend to forget that Maxwell herself is accused by victims of engaging in some of the same sexual abuse, not just grooming, but actually engaging in some of the same sexual abuse. She has many, many accusers herself.
Yeah, the federal courts, the jury have said she engaged in horrible activity. Rich, you're an intellectual, you're a policy heavyweight, but you're also one of the best students of Trump I know, and you write about him and his proclivities in terms of politics as well as anyone I know. Besides the interpretation that he's spoken fondly and favorably about her to make sure she doesn't go after him, is there another interpretation of why Trump is talked about Maxwell this way that you can think of?
I don't know. You listen to some of the statements and you're like, okay, yeah, he is going to pardon her, because that's the kind of thing he says. Well, I haven't thought about it, but I could.
Yeah. But people are asking me about it.
Yeah. So I just don't believe, Mark, that there's some deep, dark secret that Trump was engaged in abuse of minors with Epstein, and we've had no indication of it to this point. After two huge indictments, the indictment of Epstein himself, then the indictment of Maxwell and the trial, where she had every incentive to spill her guts then, right? She was looking down the barrel of a guilty charge that could put her away for the rest of her life, right? So why would she, be able to give up Donald Trump or Bill Gates or whoever and not do it then? And then also there's so much investigative material that exists. There have been all these lawsuits from victims, and we've just never heard anything plausible about Donald Trump. So it may be that what he fears is more Wall Street Journal level disclosures with that a letter or alleged birthday letter, where it's just embarrassing because he was chummy with the guy for a long time prior to 2004, when for whatever reason he totally cut him off. So he just doesn't want her saying, "Oh yeah, I was with this party with Donald and Epstein, and they joked about this," or that level of disclosure, which would be embarrassing, but is not like a major scandal or a reason for him to want to cover this all up. That would be my guess, but I don't know.
Yeah. So my guess is along the lines of yours, but it's maybe a little bit further than what you said, more than just embarrassing joking, but that I'm amazed at how little we know about the contours of their relationship, and more generally about how did Epstein interact with rich and powerful men? What were their activities? It's alleged that there was a child sex trafficking ring. I find relatively little information about what that entailed, right? But the idea that there were parties and that there were activities both on the island, in his Manhattan home, et cetera, we just don't know. At least I don't know what the contours of that were. And I think the victims have made some accusations, but they're not very detailed. And certainly none of them involve Donald Trump, except there are two on the record accounts that involve Trump and Epstein together. That, is it the worst thing Donald Trump's ever been accused of? It's not. But my suspicion is that there's more of that, not necessarily illegal, but unseemly with a monster, right? Mm. It's unseemly with a monster. Emily, we'll close up on Epstein. Just what are you waiting to see? Besides, if Maxwell testifies, what are you waiting to see develop?
Well, yeah, I mean, now Senate Democrats are looking for recordings, actually, of Todd Blanche's meetings with Ghislaine Maxwell, who was spotted by the press coming in and out of those meetings carrying boxes. So right now, I'm looking to hear more about what Maxwell told Todd Blanche in at least 2 days of meetings at this point when he was questioning her. I think that's a significant, urgent question. And the Deputy Attorney General says they're planning on providing that information when it's appropriate. But I don't think anybody right now is holding their breath for this Department of Justice to be the good sort of steward of what is deemed appropriate information on an appropriate timeline.
Yeah. Rich, people in the political analyst racket often make the prediction that a certain story will bedevil Trump or divide MAGA or won't go away. I'm not so sure about this one. Do you think this story will be alive in the fall?
I'm not sure. It feels a little summery, like a summer kind of scandal or attempted scandal. But I don't think there'll be enough disclosures ever to satisfy anyone. I do think there is a chance of a Republican revolt. I think the whole MAGA split thing is way overdone. It is influential MAGA voices, but is it real MAGA voters out there who are, deciding how they feel about Trump based on this? I think no. So I think maybe it does go into the fall, but it's not like a thermonuclear story.